This video we will talk about how to create new tables. We have two different ways to create a new table in this lecture. We will read from a file and we will just from an empty table. So the first thing, let's see how to create table from an empty table using the tables function. So we were creating a table from scratch. So just using the tables function. Yeah, you can see when you create it using the tables function, nothing display. Yeah, because nothing in there yet, right? So how to create the table? Remember we told you from the previous lecture, the table contains all columns. So actually, basically, table just have a lot of columns, made by a lot of columns. And we told you a column actually is an array. Okay, so the first thing that's create an array we call string. So we have 4 string here. Okay, so then we create an array that's a string array. So here we were using the tables function to create that. So the tables function, when you create this just create a new table, empty table. So then table using column, right? So when you have using the empty table, invoke the with columns function. So you can pass in multiple columns with the labels and the value. And remember, since the column is an array, so label usually is plain string. So then you have the value actually is an array. Okay, so then after you create, don't forget, you can just create like this. Okay, so let me remove that. Okay, so we see here. If we just create like that, they will just display. But remember, if you just display, they are not really safe, or we cannot access that anymore. So that's why I make sure it create that assigned to a name called south side. So then you have 4 string name and 1 column. Yeah, then that's add more. Okay, so here, then that's add. So after you create a table, now we assign the table name is south side. So you can use the south side, again, invoke with column function. Then again, pass the first argument is the label of the column, then the value of the column. So that's, we have one, each one actually is 1 block away from the UC Berkeley campus. Okay. Yeah, that's the arrow, that's the Y. Yeah, south side not defined because earlier when I make the change, I didn't run again. So that's wrong again. Okay, so that's what we have that. Okay, but be careful. Again, you see, I'm using the south side table to add more column, one more column, right? So that's why here they show 2 columns. But if you display again, they are still only the string name. That's because remember, whenever you call a function, you create the new table, don't forget you need to reassign again. Okay, so the first thing we see, yeah, so that's why after we have the block from the campus 0, 1, 2, 3, don't forget you do this one, you want to add 1 more column, we need to assign to the south side again. Okay, so now write the south side if you display again. So then they have 2 columns. Okay, so you can add column 1 by 1, but sometimes if you already know your column, yeah, you can do like this. Okay, so just start from the beginning. Okay, so you can have a table, empty table with all the columns. Then earlier we just add 1 column by column, but actually you can have 1 column, 2 column. The way we write the same thing, it just help you to easier to see each line actually is a pair of the label with the column value. So you can have multiple columns passing to the with columns function. Okay, so then you will see here actually will be the same as earlier. Okay. So not only you can do 2 columns, you can have 3 columns as well. So then we can add the time to get there. If we just say, for example, they are 2 minutes for each block. You see here the value, yeah, you can just either pass in the value by create an array earlier. But also sometimes if they are really have the value actually is increasing steadily, so then you can using the numpy arrange function to do that. Okay, so that's our south side table with 3 columns. Yeah, so sometimes people ask, right, actually this one already good. You have street name, the number of blocks from campus, and the time to get there. But sometimes if you feel like, oh, you want to move your column order, okay, can you do that? Yes, you can do that. Okay, so remember we can use the select. For example, you want to reverse all the order. Okay, so you can do like this. Okay, so you see here they changed the order for the column. But the same thing, since you didn't reassign again, so even you have that, but south side at let me do it now here. Okay, so you reverse that, but now if we add the south side, they are still the same. They didn't change because you just select that to create the new table. Only for display, you need to reassign. Otherwise, they are still the same. Okay, so you can add your column one by one, okay, with the label name and your value. But if your value just have one, actually they just, you see here we add the city for each street. They are in Berkeley City. But one thing is, if you only have one value, they just refill. They just fill by the whole element of whole array. Okay. Yeah, so that's from the scratch to create your table. So the next one we want to see create a table from file. But actually you already see the example before. Remember our NBA, you can use the very beginning, go to very beginning. So you can using your NBA salary file. So that's how we create table from the file. But here, let's see another example from the lecture. So this example, we will provide you the CVS file, but also I think that's an interesting example. That's about the, you see that's in 18th into 19th century. That's the Harvard PhD doctor. He creates a visualization in 1900. So the goal, they want to educate people about the life of Black Americans. So you know at that time the racist issue is really big. So later I want to show you that, you know, it's over 100 years ago, but then kind of the start with the data science visualization. So they're using the data here. They create the handmade. They create 30 handmade statistic graphic with his graduate student for 3 months. Yeah, how can you believe that? Yeah, but it's amazing picture. Even now you see it's kind of, you have that, but you need to think about it's over 100 years ago. Okay, it's a handmade. It's really very nice to see. They made using according to the income, they have different class. So then they have their actual average for each class. So they using the visual graphic to show the percentage in different category about their annual expense. So you can see the first one is rent, then the purple is food, then the clothes, and also the tax, and also other expense. Now you can see here the purple caught your eyes, right? So then you can see actually the food is quite the big percentage about their expense. Okay, so yeah, it's quite of out of our imagination now. But one thing you can think about, if you already are not very wealthy, then the fundamental needs for human, actually that's food. Okay, so then you see their rent, not big as a food, but still is a big amount. Yeah, so even now for regular American people, right, our rent or the mortgage. Actually, a lot of people, more than 1/3. Okay, but here, that time, the food actually is a big percentage for them. Yeah, for the people has a little more money, they don't have the rent. So we can guess maybe they have their own house. Okay, so then they have their clothes. And so then they have the last one is other expense, and also they have including their savings. So maybe they save for those saving. So then, yeah, what else you can observe? You can pause the video and really look at the picture here on the graph to see any finding you have. So of course, we have the discussion question is the same thing. I want you to work on that with your peer. So we talk about many table functions in this week lecture. Okay, so then you can see in earlier we have the income bracket we call class. So they spend the highest percentage of their income on rent. Okay, so use that table to find the income bracket, which one spend the highest percentage for their on rent. And you also can play with which one spend the highest on their food and other things. So how to get that? Yes, we already have the text file for you ready. Yeah, so the table actually is in the data science package. So then you see, like we say, you can just using the table dot read table passing the file name. So we assign this table called due boys. Okay, so that you can have the whole table for the data. So that's we call the class. They have their actual average. They have the percentage. Just here the percentage with the decimal to display. So the rent, food, clothes, tax, and others. Okay, so if you want to see the average only, okay, so that's the value. If you want to see the food only, yeah, so that's the, you can see by the column. So here, from this one, according to what we talk about those functions, can you from each class to find which one they, which category they use most, which category the percentage take most from their income. Or you can play with other things. So discuss with your peer, your classmates, to play with this one. Or you see the NBA file, you can play with that as well. Okay, so at the end, let me, before end of the video, so here I want to show you the where method. Okay, earlier we showed you the where method. You can have the label name and for the exactly value to search for. But also you can give them the range as well. So like here is above 10 million for the salary. Or you can have the between. Okay, or you can have if their position content G, that's either the point guard or what is S guard, small guard. Yeah. Okay, so that's also the other thing for the where function you can play with. Yeah, I think that's all the lecture from lecture 5 we want to talk about. So in the lecture 4, let's back to the handout here. Oh yeah, let me give you the summary here. Okay, so when we're creating a table, we give you some function you can do. Okay, so then you can have the number of row and column of the row, and you have label to relabel. Then you can do the select or take or where or sort or drop to create the new table. But one thing, like in lecture 4 and lecture 3, I forgot to talk about at the end is, for now you can see each module except the module 1 we have 2 lectures. For now we have 3 lectures each one. So the second lecture, after the second lecture, please work on your lab exercise. So the last lecture, please work on your homework assignment from